Have you ever been lying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, while your mind keeps replaying the same thoughts again and again? Like a broken machine you can't switch off? Have you ever felt tired even after doing nothing? Not because your body is exhausted, but because your mind has been fighting battles that never even happened? Overthinking is one of the most dangerous habits in the world because it doesn't look dangerous. Nobody sees it. Nobody warns you. Overthinking is not loud. It is quiet. It sits with you in your room. It follows you into your bed. It walks with you in public while you pretend everything is okay. It makes you feel like you're planning, but it's not planning. It's panic disguised as preparation. It makes you feel like you're thinking deeply, but it's not deep thinking. It's emotional chaos disguised as intelligence. And the worst part is, overthinking feels productive. It makes you feel like you're doing something. It makes you feel like you're getting ready. While you are waiting for the perfect moment, the moment is passing. And slowly, without realizing it, you start living in your head more than you live in the real world. You stop taking action. You stop taking risks. You stop taking risks. You stop speaking up. You stop trying. You stop trusting yourself. Not because you are weak, but because your mind has trained you to fear everything. Your brain has turned every decision into a life or death situation. Every small step feels like a dangerous jump. Every new beginning feels like a potential disaster. Every chance feels like a trap. So you stay stuck. You stay silent. You stay in the same place, and you call it being safe. But it's not safety. It's self-destruction. Overthinking is like being trapped in a room where the walls are made of your own thoughts. You want to move forward, but your mind pulls you back. You want to start, but your mind says, what if you fail? You want to speak, but your mind says, what if they judge you? You want to change your life, but your mind says, what if it goes wrong? And because the mind is powerful, it doesn't just ask questions, it creates movies. It creates scenes. It creates imaginary failures so real that your body reacts as if they already happened. Your heart beats faster, your chest feels heavy, your breathing changes, you feel anxious, you feel restless, you feel drained. Not because life is attacking you, but because your mind is attacking you. And that is why overthinking is a prison. Not because it locks your body, but because it locks your spirit. Think about how many times you wanted to start something, a business, a skill, a new habit, a new chapter, a new version of yourself. But instead of starting, you kept thinking. You kept planning. You kept doubting. You kept waiting. You kept saying, I'll do it tomorrow, and tomorrow became next week. Next week became next month. Next month became next year. And one day you wake up and realize something terrifying, not when you feel ready. The choice is right now. And here's what makes this battle even more dangerous. Most people don't even realize when it begins. It starts small. A simple thought. A simple worry. A simple moment where you replay something you said. Something you didn't say. Something you should have done. Something you should have avoided. And at first, it feels normal. It feels harmless. It feels like you're just being aware. But slowly, that thought becomes a pattern. And that pattern becomes a habit. And that habit becomes your personality. You stop seeing overthinking as something you do. You start believing it is who you are. You start saying things like, this is just my nature. I'm just an overthinker. My mind never stops. And without realizing it, you accept the prison as your home. That is how people lose their lives. Not by one big mistake, but by slowly accepting a mindset that drains them every single day. Because overthinking doesn't just steal your peace. It rewires your brain. It trains you to doubt your own decisions. It trains you to hesitate. It trains you to question everything. And the more you do it, the more your mind becomes addicted to uncertainty. You see, the human brain hates the unknown. It hates not having answers. It hates not having control. So when life gives you uncertainty, your brain tries to protect you by thinking harder. It tries to solve everything in advance. It tries to predict every outcome. It tries to prepare for every possible disaster. But the brain is not always your friend. Sometimes your brain is a liar that speaks in your own voice. It says, don't do it. You might fail. It says, wait, you're not ready. It says, think more, plan more, analyze more. And because it sounds like you believe it. That's the trap. Overthinking is not your intelligence speaking, it is your fear speaking. And fear is a master manipulator. Fear doesn't scream, it whispers. Fear doesn't attack you directly. It convinces you to attack yourself. It convinces you to attack yourself. It convinces you that you need more time. It convinces you that you need more information. It convinces you that you need more perfection. And while you're stuck in your head, life keeps moving forward without you. That's why overthinking is so deadly. It doesn't just create stress. It creates delay, and delay is the invisible killer of destiny. Because success is not only about talent. Success is not only about luck. Success is not only about intelligence. Success is about decisions, and overthinking destroys decision-making. It turns your mind into a battlefield where every option looks dangerous, every path looks risky, every step feels like a mistake waiting to happen. And when you feel like every step is a threat, you stop moving. You freeze. And the world doesn't wait for frozen people. The world rewards movement. The world rewards courage. The world rewards action. But overthinking makes you believe you can think your way into a perfect life. And that is a lie. No one thinks their way into greatness. They act their way into greatness. They fail their way into greatness. They struggle their way into greatness. They grow their way into greatness. And the painful truth is, your mind will never feel fully ready because the mind doesn't want you to change. The mind wants comfort. The mind wants safety. The mind wants the same routine, even if that routine is destroying you. That is why you can feel stuck even when you have dreams. That is why you can feel tired even when you are young. That is why you can feel pressure even when nothing is happening, because your mind is constantly preparing for a war that does not exist. And when you live like that, you become mentally exhausted. You wake up tired, you walk around with heavy thoughts. You lose focus easily. You lose motivation quickly. You feel emotionally drained, not because life is too hard, but because your mind is too loud. And over time, that loudness becomes your identity. You stop trusting your instincts. You stop believing in your abilities. You stop believing that you can handle life. And listen carefully, because this is where overthinking becomes truly dangerous. It makes you afraid of your own potential. It makes you afraid of your own potential. It makes you afraid of success. It makes you afraid of growth. Because growth requires uncertainty. Growth requires risk. Growth requires mistakes. Growth requires discomfort. But overthinking tells you discomfort is danger. So you stay in your comfort zone. And the comfort zone feels safe, but it is secretly a graveyard. It is where goals go to die. It is where confidence disappears. It is where people spend years waiting for a miracle while refusing to move. And you don't realize you're losing your life until you look back and feel regret. Because regret doesn't come from failing. Regret comes from never trying. Regret comes from watching your own dreams fade slowly while you kept telling yourself you would start someday. Someday is the most dangerous word in the human language. Someday destroys ambition. Someday kills discipline. Someday creates excuses. Someday gives your mind permission to stay weak. And every time you choose someday, you are training your brain to delay your destiny. You are teaching yourself that your future is not urgent, that your dreams are not important, that your life can wait. But life does not wait. Time does not pause. The days do not stop, and one day you will wake up and realize you wasted years thinking about a life you could have been living. That is the real horror of overthinking. It doesn't just make you anxious, it makes you late to your purpose, late to your success, late to your healing, late to your growth, late to the life you were meant to build. And the worst part is you already have what you need. You already have enough strength to begin. You already have enough intelligence to learn. You already have enough intelligence to learn. You already have enough ability to improve. But overthinking makes you blind to your power. It makes you focus on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. It makes you focus on your weaknesses instead of your potential. It makes you forget that you were built to handle challenges. You were built to survive storms. You were built to adapt. You were built to rise. But you will never discover that strength if you keep hiding in your mind. Because confidence is not something you find. Confidence is something you build. And you build it by taking action before you feel ready. You build it by taking action before you feel ready. You build it by proving to yourself that you are stronger than your thoughts. And this is the moment you need to understand something that can change everything. Your thoughts are not you. Your thoughts are not your truth.